order to sort of do it right, I felt like it's one thing on stage to play a character of that size and vehemence and what one Ewan's character refers to as the shrill insanity of your mother. You kind of can't underplay it, and you're sort of stuck with that size of horror, and it's from the inside out. You have to commit to it. So there was a lot of smoking and bad posture and staying up late and drinking red wine with Margo.
Hey.
And that all helped, you know.
Right. Of course. I would love to think that I did a lot of things to seem. At one time, I looked at Meryl and I thought, "Isn't that odd? She laughs just like me." Well, that's nothing I did. That's the way I laugh. So she knew that, and we spent tons of time together, lots of time, just actually socializing.
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun, yeah.
Tracy, this is the third play you've adapted for the screen after Killer Joe and Bug.
Yes. In order to remake something that's 3 hours worth of material into something that's 2 hours worth of material, you have to kind of take up the floorboards a little bit. It's some difficult work. You know, I think John and I, we approached it thoughtfully in that we didn't start out by talking about what do we have to lose, what can we cut. We talked about, certainly we wanted to take advantage of the opportunities that film affords, that we're able to show Osage County. In the play, of course, we can only suggest it beyond the walls of the set. We thought it was important that we bring the protagonist and the antagonist to the foreground, and so some things did have to go, and it was they were painful decisions, some of them, but that's the process, and I think John and I arrived at it together. There's a scene between Jean, the daughter, and Jonna, the Native American housekeeper. It's a long scene in the play, and we did shoot the scene for the film, and unfortunately it seemed to sort of be a hitch in terms of pace. I fought for it. I love the scene. It's important to me, but there are other considerations to be served.
I want to talk about the casting of the film. And before I say that, I'm wondering if, I'm throwing it out there. The idea of Julia, Julianne, and Juliette, did that factor in at all in the casting? I mean, it's...
I had everyone's pictures up on the wall trying to make the final decisions, and it occurred to me that was going to be very difficult once we got to the set. I actually tried nicknames for a little while. That didn't really work either. It didn't. Because
then it's Jules and Jules and Jules.
Jules and yeah. And then I reverted. I reverted at one point to just calling them by their character names, which seemed to work best. Well, first, the language is beautiful and beautifully constructed. It's very complicated. So the first standard was to find the best actors that we could find for the parts. I mean, a cast that could actually stand in with the language, with the difficulty of the material. It's not easy material. And there was a lot of conversation about, how much does everyone need to look like each other in the family. But what became more important, I think, was just who were going to be the best actors for the parts, and knowing who was going to be in the cast, some of the members who are already going to be here. We wanted to make certain that everyone every day could stand in and do the work, and that was a wonderful process. We cast over about 6 months, and there's a dirty secret, which is that when you're directing something, the casting process, the auditioning process, is a wonderful way to actually sort of rehearse for yourself. You get all different kinds of wonderful actors coming in and showing you all these their interpretations of what the material is, which is very useful. I knew a bit about Oklahoma. I'm from Colorado, and when we got there, I realized that all the places we were talking about did not look like what this was going to be, and that it became very important to be there. And I think it was very valuable for the cast and for everyone we were working on it to be there. We found a house that we wanted to use, and we actually purchased the house. And it was cheaper than building a single set. It was with 50 acres, and we were right in Osage County. We were really in the place. So the images were there. The language was there. We spent time around people from there, got to know them, and I think it infuses the whole film with a sense of place, which is very important.
I saw this on stage on Broadway 5 years ago, and it blew me away. And when I read the script, the same thing happened all over again, and I felt like I understood who she was. I didn't mean to have her not be pitied or sympathized with, but I felt like she had a very noble life, actually, and a life that many people choose and then want something different. And I really cared about her, and it wasn't her plan to stay behind. Everybody else left, and so somebody had to stay at that point, and then she had enough. It was time to go.
I was playing the put-together gal focused on her appearance, and it's not really something I naturally gravitate toward in characters. So I actually relished the fact that I was playing a girl that gets her hair, does her hair and has to leave the house with a lip on, as my mother would say. Put your lip on. But this was thrilling for me when I first read that 3-page monologue. There's so many things about Karen. Just that we've met. I've met the person that talks incessantly and is positive incessantly, and what is that masking? And this role came at a very strange time in my life. I was dealing with the possible. My dad had a heart attack, and he's still here, thank God. But I was losing the ability to make life rosy at that time. So to look at a character who that's her survival, is that it's really going to be great. It's great. It's great. I was like, oh, if I could only have that delusion in my life right now, it would make things great. But I had lost the ability to have faith or these things. I've since regained it. But
when I read the sides to audition with for Jean, it was one of those things where I kind of just felt really attached to her immediately, which was really bizarre for me. And I guess it's because I felt like I knew somebody just like it, and so I felt like it helped. But I had also kind of remembered that, way back 3 years ago when I was 14, that she's just trying to be really tough and not care about anything, because it's a lot easier than showing that you're actually really upset about things and really vulnerable. So when I was 14 too, I was and 15, I was nothing bothers me, I'm great, it's fine, whatever, I don't even care. And it kind of is easier. And then she finds herself in this situation, and I think that sometimes you can get yourself into really, really bad, dangerous situations and not, you don't even realize it at all. And then when you do kind of step back from it, it's oh yeah, that. And that's what John really helped me with too in that scene, was that she kind of pulls away from it and everybody comes out, and then she kind of realizes that, oh, this is really bad. And this is sketchy as hell. So yeah, and but that's what I really liked about her.
The one thing that people have fun with Steve, and it always feels wrong. I always wanted to honor how dangerous a person he was, and then forget it, and be the person that he is, which is, as far as Karen is concerned, it's the love of her life. I'm a dedicated, now fourth husband, but who's to say that doesn't mean this is the one for me? So it was interesting. I worked extensively with John, and then Abigail and I worked together on our own. Actually, her mother was there as well, which was really helpful. In all honesty, it was. And so, of course, what we had to work on was smoking a joint like that, where you put the lid end in your mouth. So this is something no one here knows. We rehearsed it the night before, and then we shot it. And by the end of that second day, I had blisters all over in my mouth because I had burned it because that's hot, right? But how great is that moment when you have that shocking reveal? You think you hear it, it's on the stairs. It was always written this way in Tracy's play. Of course, that all took place in front of you on stage, and you saw the whole thing play. So part of me, I even risked saying to John, can we, put some of that on screen? But it's so satisfying to wonder and then worry and then see the very thing that you hate. And obviously men like this are far too common. And I just make sure that's said, because Tracy's trick, of course, is to make him really kind of charming and almost feel like he would help save the troubles a little bit.
We haven't talked about the dinner scene yet.
Here comes Meryl to the head of the dinner table, and we're eye to eye, and think maybe this might be a nice dinner. And it was an 18-page scene, broke it up into 6 pages, roughly 6 pages per day. I think at each take, something comes at us, something is given to us a little differently, and we look to stay fresh, to respond, because we don't know what's coming at us. Everything is especially Meryl has the bulk of the lines and all, and she keeps us on our toes, because she gives us a comic take, a brutal take, a nasty take, a drug-addled take, and a combination of all that, So I think everybody realizes was very tactile, yeah.